So welcome back to the next session. Till now we have covered in hypothesis testing. This is session 3 of hypothesis testing. We have covered till now 6 tests under hypothesis testing. Now we will be dealing with the 7th test of hypothesis testing and we will be moving to chi-square test. So we shall take under this session pair t-test and chi-square test. We discussed the first 6 tests where the samples were not associated, one sample was not associated with another sample, those were drawn independent of each other. Under a situation when the samples are dependent, when one sample is dependent of the another, to understand that, say if we talk about certain testing or certain advertisement campaign, then say if you before a test means before a sort of, if you talk about giving a test drive of a new 4-wheeler you would like to launch, say we talk about Duster itself. Duster, when Duster was launched, initially we had some information about the product, the 4-wheeler SUV launched in the market. Then in general from certain customers, their likings about the product was taken on a say 10 scale, 1 to 10 scale. This is the liking of 18 such consumers. Now all those customers were given a test drive of the SUV Duster. When the test drive was given, they came to know the facilities, the interiors, the smooth drive, the engine maintenance, mileage, about the company. Then they were again asked to give the rating. Then if we notice here, this is before the test drive, this is after the test drive. Consumer is same, consumer 1 before the test drive, after the test drive, again the customer 18 before the test drive, after the test drive. So you can have the pairs. So the samples are dependent. You cannot compare the rating given by say customer 10 before the test drive to the rating given by customer 13 after the test drive. Again the rating has to be compared of the same customer before the test drive with this his own rating only. If that is the case, we call this as pair t-test or dependent samples. The data or the sample after training, after test, after advertisement campaign has to be compared before that, and we have to see whether that is effective or not. So under such situations we call under the situation of dependence variable. So our hypothesis would be whether the averages before are equal to averages after, or averages before are not equals to averages after. This is in general we are talking about. So since we know here data can be paired, so we will define DI, the deviation in those paired values. Paired value xi is before test, paired value yi is after test. So how much is the deviation, that DI will define. With that DI will define d bar would be 1 by n summation DI. You can make a table, you can first write all xi values, all yi values. Please make that table yourself right now. Xi column, yi column, then DI, then before the DI you can have d bar, then DI values, you subtract d bar from each DI values, one more column will come, and then in another column you write DI minus d bar whole square, right. So that would be the final column, and from there you will get S square. Once you have S square, you can have S and S by under root n, that will be the standard error. So this will be T. So I repeat, you will be having some observations xi and some observations yi under pair t-test, and obviously you can identify whether these two sample 1 of xi, sample 2 of yi, whether they are independent or whether they are dependent. So if they are dependent, obviously pair t-test will be applicable. So, make some columns with xi yi, you write xi minus yi, then d bar s square, okay. Then use them here and that will give you T calculated. Only this is the difference, rest all the processes are same. T calculated would be then compared with the T tabulated value, and if it is more than the tabulated, it goes to the rejection region. If it is less than tabulated, it goes to the acceptance. Acceptance here means acceptance of H naught. So, this question here, an IQ test was administered to 5 persons before and after they were trained. A certain training was provided. Before the training, IQ was measured. After the training, IQ was measured of 5 individuals. Say before training, IQ of individual 1 is 110, after training it is 120, here it is 120, it is going down 118, 23 to 25, 32 to 36, it is going 25 to 21. In 3 cases it is increasing, in 2 cases it is slightly going down. So, question is test whether there is any change in IQ after the training program, right. He is only interested in knowing some change. It can be IQ went down, it can be IQ goes up. So, our null hypothesis would be H naught, the IQ average is not equals to before training is not equals to after training. Sorry, in H naught IQ before training would be equals to HQ after training, and H1 IQ before training would be not equals to HQ after training. So, this will be one tailed or two tailed, this will be a two tailed test. Then these are the xi values, all these 5. Second are the yi values, write them in a column form. Xi is IQ before training, yi IQ after training. Then write di, di would be the difference between the observation 110 minus 120, all di's you write. Once you have those di's, calculate d average of all those di's differences, take the average, and once that average is available, so from di you subtract those averages, like in this case di minus d bar, and then in the next column you square it, summation divided by n, that will be s. So, for this data you will get that s value, and with the s value you can then calculate T calculated, d bar you already have by this. And here it is not important that whether you take xi minus yi or you take yi minus xi, because finally we will be taking absolute value of T calculated. So, there is nothing to worry about even if you are taking xi minus yi or yi minus xi. Final T cal would be compared with T tab, and then you, I hope now by now are experts in this. Therefore, you can decide if H naught is accepted, that means there is no change in the IQ before and after training. If H naught is rejected, there is an evidence in support of that there is change before and after training. And then another example here, attitude measurement towards a brand before and after the advertisement campaign. Here we are talking about say test drive, before and after the test drive of that duster product on a rating of 1 to 10. Then another can be one in duster, if you used to like it, give rating like this, after test drive how you rate it, right. So, test drive, was it effective in marketing the product more or not, right. That is one case. Another case can be certain consumers, how they like your product, you ask them right now today, and then you advertise from the same consumers. When they look into the advertisement, different brand ambassador, when in news they say, then after that advertisement campaign, do you think that the likings has increased or not, right. So, if that is the case, this will be again pairs, xi values before test, yi after test. These are paired values. So, paired t test would be applicable, right. It is not an independent sample, the sample here is dependent of each other. So, xi minus yi you can calculate, that is di. Once di is available, you can calculate d bar. With the help of d bar you can have s observation, then with the help of s you can have standard error s by root n, and t cal can be calculated and then you can decide upon whether T cal is more than T tab or less than T tab. Okay. Then the same can be handled with the help of SPSS also when we will interact one to in the classroom face to face. Then we will try to have some understanding of this SPSS, although it will not be asked in the examination, but you must know how you can apply in practical applications, because there it will be difficult for you to calculate it manually due to time limitations. So, you can use SPSS and again you can reach that paired sample t test. This way analyze, compare means and paired sample t test. Another paired sample t test you will be having, because these are now dependent variables. You will have different pairs, pair of variable 1 say before test, variable 2 can be after test, or you can hear like previous question IQ before training, IQ after training. And so, that can be compared and then some more options, and the moment you click it that will give you the T calculated value, tabulated value, and then you can decide whether the differences are significant. Differences, if these are significant, so there is an increase in the awareness of the product, or there is any difference in the training program for the paired T test, right, that can be decided upon. Hope that is clear to you. With that we have covered the 7 tests also, and as far as values are concerned, that you can have it from the table. Comparison can be made and you can decide whether you are finally falling in acceptance region or rejection region, and that conclusion can be made. So, in this way hypothesis testing can be handled, that is our assumptions about the parameter, are those validated or not. Book recommended is Statistics for Management. This covers almost complete portion, and then in addition you can even refer this by Anderson, Sweeney, Williams, Statistics for Business and Economics, or by Ken Black also. So, after finishing this we are moving to another article here of today that we discussed in the introduction itself, that we shall be taking chi-square tests today. In hypothesis testing we handled the case of single mean, difference of mean, single proportion and difference of proportion. Now, issue arises, suppose the proportions are more than 2, proportions are more than 2. Say if we talk about the proportion of students who get admission to DMS MBA program from you can say north area, north, south, east and west, say 4 parts of the country, and say central part also 5 parts of the country. So, can we conclude the proportion of students getting into that MBA program of IIT Delhi is same for all the areas or not? So, we will have some proportion of some from north, some from south, some from east, some from west, some from center. So, these 5 proportions, right, those 5 proportions, at the same time we have to decide whether the proportion contributing the total class strength is same or not. So, how do we do that, right? Because till now we have the limitations of only maximum 2 proportions, and there we are applying difference of proportion P1 minus P2, and we also have the limitation of only 2 means x1 bar minus x2 bar there that we were discussing under hypothesis testing. So, whenever the situation arises of more than 2 proportions, we will consider the chi-square test, and situation arises of considering more than 2 means, there will apply analysis of variance. Say if we have to test the average placement packages, placement salaries offered to students when they pass out their PGPM program or MBA program from all the IIMs, whether these are same or not. So, what we will do is we will take from say IIM Ahmedabad, IIM say top 5, if we say let those top 5 be Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Kolkata, then Kozhikode and say Lucknow, then even let us say 6th is Indore, then those average packages can be taken, the sample size can be considered, the variability can be considered, and then at the same time we can decide upon whether the average packages of these 6 IIMs are same or not. So, if we have to test the equality or inequality of more than 2 means, we will apply analysis of variance, and if we have to test the equality, inequality or fitting of the data or independence or dependence, then we will apply or proportions, right, then we will apply chi-square. So, I repeat, for more than 2 averages, if we have to see the hypothesis testing, we will apply analysis of variance. For more than 2 proportions, if you have to see the independence, dependence or equality, we will apply chi-square test, right. So, under chi-square test, we shall be dealing with the goodness of fit of the test. So, here your population is multinomial, I mean it is not limited to 2 proportions, it is more than 2 proportions. One would be goodness of fit, another would be testing of independence, whether the variables under study, right, are independent or dependent, that we will consider here. So, again the procedure would be same, we will define null and alternative hypothesis. Under null hypothesis, we will assume, here we are talking about goodness of fit of the data, the population follow a multinomial distribution with specified probabilities for each of the k categories, and that it follows certain level of distribution, that will be H naught. Under HA, the population does not follow a multinomial distribution with specified probabilities for each of the k categories, that would be H naught and H1. Then here test statistic, the symbol for chi-square is like this, chi-square x, if you have that extra tail of x both the sides, that will look like a chi-square, this is the notation for chi-square. Then the test statistic is summation Fi minus Ei whole square by Ei. Here Fi is the observed frequency of category, what observed data we have, and then expected, what we are expecting as per that particular situation, whole square by Ei, right. This will be your chi-square, and k is the number of categories we have. This follows here, say whatever number of observations are here, this follows a k minus 1 degree of freedom situation, and then at k minus 1 degree of freedom, that chi-square tabulated value can be noted down from the table, and then that can be compared with the calculated one, right, and then we can make a decision whether to go by the null hypothesis or to go by the alternative hypothesis. To understand this, say Finger Lakes Homes manufactures 4 models of prefabricated homes, 2-story colonial, a log cabin, a split level and A-frame. So, these are different kinds of prefabricated homes. To help in production planning, the management would like to determine if previous customer purchase indicate that there is preference in the style selected, right. They want to know whether these are equally liked or any preferences there, right. So, they would like to know whether the homes are equally liked or not. The number of homes sold of each model for 100 sales over the past 2 years is shown as colonial were 30, log category were 20, level were 35, frame were 15, right. So, in total I hope this is 100, 30, 20, 50, 85 and 1500, right. So, proportion of colonial is 30 out of 100, second is 20 out of 100, third is 35 out of 100, frame is 15 out of 100. Now, if we remember those questions of overhauling, or the another question was of advertisement campaign related to awareness, the 60 initially knew certain product out of 150, then it reached to 120 out of 150. So, 2 proportions were there, right, P1 and P2, their comparison was made. Now, the proportions are how many? Proportions are 4. First proportion is of colonial 30 out of 100, second is of log 20 out of 100, third is level 35 out of 100, then frame 15 out of 100. All these proportions, are these equal or different, or is there any preferences that we need to decide? So, since the proportions, number of proportions are more than 2, will apply chi-square. I hope this is clear to you. Most important is identifying which test to be applicable. The moment you are able to correctly identify it, half done, and rest you can easily handle it, right. So, here multinomial, assumption is that yes, they are equal, the preferences are equal, right. When they are equal, there are 4 categories, total is 100%. So, each proportion should be 0.25. Then alternative would be populations proportions are not equal, whether they are equal or not. C is for colonial, L for log cabin, then split level and A frame. So, in this way we can define null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Once that is defined, so how to write the expected frequencies? In this case, obviously, these are the observed frequencies. Observed is 0.30, 0.2, 0.35, 0.15. These are the observed probabilities, and expected frequency probabilities are 0.25. So, expected frequencies, how would you write? Because there are in total 100 such cases available. When we are saying there is equal preference, so out of 100, simple common sense says the equal preference of for one category, for second category, third category, fourth category. Either you can say there are 4 categories, so equal preference of frequency 25 for all those 4 categories, or you can multiply the probability with capital N. I hope you remember frequency was probability into capital N. So, expected comes out to be 25. We have now expected 25 each, and these are the observed. So, we will use this chi-square test statistic, rest everything is same, right, in all the hypothesis testing. So, we will put those values here of frequency, observed frequency and expected frequency, right, put them here. So, 30 minus 25 whole square by expected, we are dividing by expected, not dividing by observed. 30 minus 25 by 25 square is only of the numerator. Keep adding them, it comes out to be 10. Chi-square calculated is 10, right. Then how many observations were there? We had a data of 4 proportions. So, k is 4, degree of freedom would be, when the observation number of categories are k, degree of freedom would be k minus 1. Here degree of freedom would be k minus 1, means 3. When you look into the chi-square table, there is a separate table for t test, there is a separate table for z test, there is a separate table for chi-square test. You must be quite comfortable with each of these tables. So, here you just need to match the level of significance. Level of significance is not given, or if it is given here, say 5%, match that level of significance with the degrees of freedom. The moment you are able to match it, you will reach this tabulated values. Tabulated value here is 7.815. So, chi-square cal is greater than chi-square tabulated. So, we reject H naught. So, hence we can say the assumption is rejected of no home style preference, means there is some home style preference, because sales of one kind of home may be more than the sales of another kind of home. We reject the assumption that there is no home style preference. So, it means there is a home style preference. So, in this way we are able to apply it to the goodness of fit of the data. Goodness of fit was here whether they are following a certain expected trend. Certain expected trend means all the 4 categories of homes were equally preferred. So, this shows that all the 4 categories of home are not equally preferred. There is some style preference available, right. Then moving to the another category of this, that is independence of attributes, and chi-square is a non-parametric test. Here it is a non-parametric test, that is the data you have would be only of nominal and ordinal. So, based on that nominal, means categories you have only of the respondents or the persons who are preferring certain homes and not. So, you can only say this is one category, this is second category, this is third category, and those proportions can be compared, right. So, that was one case where you had k observations, k proportions were given. So, degree of freedom was k minus 1. This is another case, this is also symbol for chi-square only, but I would recommend that you can make chi-square in this form, x in both the sides crossed and extra tail, that will be chi-square. Let us assume this is also chi-square, it is OI observed minus expected by EI square. It will follow a chi-square with r minus 1, c minus 1. This is a situation when your data is in contingency table. In contingency table, you will have certain row, you will have certain table columns, and with those rows and columns, here the expected will not be given. Expected you will have to first calculate. Expected would be row total into column total divided by the grand total. So, row data of certain attribute, column data of another attribute, we will have to see whether those two attributes are independent of each other or not. Hope you will understand this with an example here. This example says the gender and internet uses, right. This gender and internet usage data, so here gender is an attribute, internet uses, internet is another, usage is another attribute. So, this data is in total 30 people, right. So, 30 people, 15 were males, 15 were female, 15 were light users, 15 were heavy users. This data is given. The question is there any dependence between the gender and internet uses? Can we say that males are using more, or at least male are using internet different from the females, right, or females are using different from males. So, that we need to test. So, from this data, before we move further, you need to first identify how many proportions are given, right, so that we can decide whether the proportions are more than 2 or these are 2, whether to apply chi-square or not. Now, if you look into this data, we have row total, these are total columns and total rows. So, this is no data available, data is only in the first 2 columns and first 2 rows. So, this is one observation, another, third, fourth. I hope you will agree then that this is a proportion of size 4, there are 4 proportions. Okay. So, again, since there are 4 proportions, it is more than 2, we will have to apply chi-square, right. Observed values are 15, 15, and now how to calculate expected for corresponding to this 5, row total into column total divided by the grand total. So, by chance, since the row total and column total are same, the EI in all the cases coming out to be same. So, you can calculate it in the same manner even if the row total and column totals are different. Once the EI is available, you can then calculate OI minus EI, OI minus EI whole square, OI minus EI whole square by EI. So, all those can be calculated, take their then summation here. This is your chi-square test statistic, you will get it here. Observed data, expected data, their difference, their square, square of the difference divided by EI. Okay. Then chi-square calculated is 3.333. You can please verify yourself whether it is chi-square calculated, it is coming to be 3.333 or not. Once we have that, we will compare this chi-square calculated with the tabulated value. Now, since the data here is in contingency table form, so in the contingency table form we are discussing the degrees of freedom would be row minus 1 into column minus 1. Number of rows here are 2, number of columns are also 2. So, 2 minus 1 into 2 minus 1, degree of freedom becomes 1. Look into the chi-square table at 5% level, 1 degree of freedom, you will notice that tabulated value is 3.841. So, this tabulated now needs to be compared with the calculated, which is larger here, tabulated is larger, right. Therefore, calculated lies is lesser than the tabulated, it lies in the acceptance region. So, we can say there is no evidence, that the internet uses are dependent of each other, right, because you are accepting H naught. So, H naught would be here that internet uses is independent of the gender, and H1 would be internet uses depends on the gender. So, there is no evidence that internet uses is dependent on the gender. That would be your conclusion, or you can say they are independent of the gender. Steps you know, here is the detailed solution of the same. There is no association between gender and internet uses. H1 there is association. Please keep in mind H naught is always a hypothesis of equality. Independence, no association, that is for H naught. H1 is a hypothesis for inequality, for dependence, for association, right. So, that you can keep in mind under different situation how H naught is defined, how H1 is defined, level of significance, then calculated, then chi-square calculated is lesser than tabulated, because tabulated is 3.841. So, there is no evidence, enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, the association between gender and internet usage is not statistically significant, right. There are some more questions here that we are discussing. Suppose that in public opinion survey answers to the questions, do you drink, are you in favor of local sale of liquor, this data is tabulated. Question A, whether you drink, drink side is this, then local sale of liquor. So, is there any dependence between the local option and individual drink, right. So, two attributes we are studying. Whenever such situation is there and data is given in this tabulated form is called contingency table. When the data is in this contingency table form, there are two attributes we would like to test whether the two attributes are dependent or whether they are independent. Dependent means there exists an association between two variables, independence means there does not exist any association, right. So, that can again be tested. These are observed values, you can calculate expected. Now, expected for 56 would be 56 row total 87, column total 87 into 74 by 111. It is expected corresponding to this, corresponding to 31 would be 87 into 37 by 111. For 18 it would be 24 into 74 by 111. For 6 expected would be 24 into 37 by 111. That will give you expected. These are all 4 observed values. So, again use this table. 4 observed values, then expected values, make this column y minus ei, y minus ei whole square, y minus ei whole square by ei, then summation here, that is your calculated, compare with the table. In this case also, because there are 2 rows, 2 columns, tabulated value would be 3.841, compare that and accordingly see which is larger, which is smaller, and accordingly you can decide upon. Some more questions here. We have survey of newspaper readership. Survey of newspaper readership. So, there are different categories of people staying in HIG, MIG, LIG flats, and which newspaper do they study, Times of India, Hindustan Times, Indian Express. So, this data is of 650 people, 3 categories of residency and 3 categories of newspapers were studied. So, can we say there is any association between the kind of newspaper they study and the category, that is does the income, HIG means obviously they are high income group, LIG lower income group. Can we conclude the income category influence the choice of paper? So, again you can calculate, these are observed data, tabulated expected data, say for 26 if you need to calculate. So, that data would be 124 into 160 by 650. So, all observed OI column, all expected column, OI minus EI column, their square, then divided by EI, their summation, that will give you chi-square, and then you can compare with the tabulated value, right. More question here, washing machine owner, right, they own washing machine, they do not own washing machine, say here you can say whether the income category influences, or now washing machine is quite a common thing, maybe you can say LED screens, right, LED televisions, whether they own or not, maybe that you can see here any association and influence. Then there is another question here, rank the 5 brands of refrigerator shown on a scale of 1 to 5. So, these are the ranks given by consumer and these are various brands, say Whirlpool, Kelvinator, Godrej, Samsung, Videocon. Can we say that ranks given by respondents are independent of brand? Are they given just to the washing machine, or are they seriously noticing the brand and then giving the ranking, right? Is it just for the sake of giving any ranking? So, again we can calculate chi-square here and also why chi-square. What are the number of proportions given here? Can you identify the number of proportions here? How many proportions are given? And I hope it is not the average data, right. These are the certain respondents out of the total who are ranking one Whirlpool, one machine, another machine, third machine and so on. So, it is not the average data, X bar is not given, we are given proportions. So, how many proportions are given? To identify that, proportions given here is, we have how many rows? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 rows. 5 rows are there, 5 columns are there. So, in total how many proportion? 25 proportion. Data is of 25 and degree of freedom would be then R minus 1 into C minus 1. R is 5 minus 1 4 into C minus 1 4. So, 16 would be your degrees of freedom, right. And once you have 16 degree of freedom, at 5% level you can have chi-square tabulated value. That chi-square tabulated value has to be compared with the chi-square calculated value. Calculate, this is the observed data, all 25 you write in one column. Then expected you may write, calculate first, say for any for this 10 say expected would be, how do you calculate that, this 100 and then total in this side. How much is the total? 30, 40 plus 20, 60 plus 10, 70 plus 20, 90. 90 is the total in this side, 100 into 90 by 100. So, in this way for all these 25 observations, you will have to get expected and then carry on to OI minus EI square by total, that will give you the chi-square calculated, compare them and that hence you can decide upon whether there is any association or not. There is another question here on goodness of it, whether it is following a certain situation or not. The number of automobile accidents per week in a certain community were as follows. Automobile accidents are given per week. Say if you are talking about, let us assume this NCR, say there are 12 accidents, then 8, 20, 2, 14, 10, 15, 6, 9, 4. Are these frequencies in agreement with the belief that accident conditions were the same during the 10-week period? Okay. In 1 week there were 12, another week 8, third week 20, 4th 2, 5th 14, then 6th 10, 7th 15, 8th 6, 9th 9 and 10th 4. So, this is total data of 12 plus 8 20 plus 20 40, 42 plus 14 42 4 46 56 66 71 81 87 plus 4 91 and 9 100, right. It is the data of 100 such accidents in 10 weeks, right. So, the question is can we assume that the accident conditions were same during the 10 weeks period. So, what we are trying to test whether the number of automobile accidents are equally distributed over 10 weeks or not. So, our expected data would be for 10 weeks 100 accidents means we are expecting each week 10 accidents to take place, right. I hope that is clear, and each week we are expecting 10 accidents out of 100, right. So, our observed data is 12, 8, 20, these are the observed data. Each week 10 means expected is 10, 10, 10, 10 for all these 10 observations. You can calculate OI minus EI, OI minus EI whole square, OI minus EI by whole square by EI, that will give you chi-square value. So, in this way we can test the goodness of it. In the previous cases what we were doing, we were trying to identifying the independence of attributes, whether two attributes under study, one of say category of residency of the housing and the kind of newspaper they study, any association between them, then any association between drink and local sale of liquor, any association between the gender and the internet uses. So, just those two attributes. Same can be say the another hypothesis can be anybody who is studying at IIT, say he is from Delhi or he is from outside Delhi. Can we say somebody who is from outside Delhi is scoring better than somebody who is from Delhi, or does there exist any association between somebody being from Delhi studying at IIT, somebody outside from Delhi studying at IIT, does there exist any association, right? So, that will come under independence of attributes, and here this comes under goodness of fit, whether data follows the equality. So, H naught you will say all the proportions are equal, H1 proportions are not equal, that can be tested, right. One thing to keep in mind since in chi-square we are squaring, right, all the deviations we are squaring OI minus EI whole square, which we are not doing in any other test, we are only taking xi minus x bar or p1 minus p2. Here we are squaring the deviations. So, that is why this is a skewed distribution. You will notice the rejection region is only on one side because of the square. All the deviation those were even possible on the negative side, OI minus EI or EI minus OI, all those negative deviations are also squared and now are in the right side. Okay. So, that you can keep in mind, chi-square is a skewed distribution and rejection will come only on one side, just for your understanding. So, what we have done till now, we have studied under chi-square two categories, one goodness of fit of the data. Here we have taken simple situations of goodness of fit of equality, whether they follow the equality of on those 10 weeks or equality of the first question we did was equality of the preference of housing, right. So, whether it follows this kind of equality or not. There can be some other situations where he may say whether it follows a probability distribution or whether it follows a Poisson distribution, that also can be handled under goodness of fit. There are several questions given in the book. Only idea is with the help of the probabilities given to us, OI observed data and the probabilities, we will have to calculate expected frequencies with the help of probability distribution, binomial probability distribution, and also with the help of Poisson distribution. Once we have those expected frequencies, then rest is same. Then use of chi-square would be to compare the deviation of expected from observed. Rest the application of chi-square is limited to this only, as far as having those expected is concerned. In case of goodness of fit, expected, you know, in probability distribution, in binomial distribution, how do we calculate expected values? Expected means total capital N into probability, simple. So, that will be the expected for 1, for 2, probability of 1 into n expected of 1, probability of 2 into n expected of 2, in the same way for all. You can have expected values also in case of Poisson probabilities. Probabilities would be Poisson, so that would be Poisson case, probabilities would be binomial, that will be binomial case, probabilities would be of normal, that will be normal case. So, their knowledge of binomial, Poisson and normal distribution can also be tested in chi-square if it is under goodness of fit, right. And then another is independence of attributes. Independence of attributes you can test here between two variables, whether they are dependent or independent. Okay. With the help with that, we have even now concluded chi-square under testing hypothesis. We are now only left with the analysis of variance, when that will be if we have more than two means available, how to handle that, whether those more than two means are equal or not, and that can be tested with the help of analysis of variance, which we shall be doing when we will have face to face interaction, right. These are the books recommended. I will recommend that you can buy the first book itself, Statistics for Management, and doing the first main face to face. This is Indian edition with two Indian authors available in the market. Statistics for Management, 7th edition, I hope, with 2 Indian authors. There are in total 4 authors for this book. Please buy that and try to practice yourself, and then we can have face to face interaction in the classroom. Thank you.